Welcome back to the Ed Show. We're 6 days away from Wisconsin's recall election, and new poll numbers are out. A Marquette poll released today shows Walker leading Barrett by 7 points. But new numbers from Democratic pollster Celinda Lake show Walker and Barrett in a dead heat at 49-49. And it's a miracle Governor Walker isn't polling through the roof, considering all the money that he has raised in the commercials that are running. Walker's campaign raked in at least $6 million in the last 5 weeks. It puts his total fundraising at over $30 million since January 2011. And it's a good thing Walker is raising all that money. He needs to pad his legal defense fund. New campaign finance reports show that Walker has transferred $100,000 into his legal defense fund since May 3rd. He now has $160,000 sitting in the account. Meanwhile, national Democrats are finally showing up to the Badger State. DNC Chair Debbie Wasserman Schultz stumped for Barrett in Milwaukee and Racine, Wisconsin today. Chair of the Democratic Governors Association, Martin O'Malley, will campaign for Barrett in Wisconsin tomorrow. And reports surfaced that Bill Clinton is sorting out his schedule for a possible visit to the Badger State. It certainly can't hurt. But there is one high-profile Democrat who is planning not to go and show up in Wisconsin. President Obama's deputy campaign manager, Stephanie Cutter, downplayed the importance of an Obama visit to Wisconsin earlier today.
If you think that the secret weapon here is sending President Obama, then, I'm pleased that you believe that. It has nothing to do with President Obama at the top of the ticket. There may be some that will, predict that it means doom for us in Wisconsin in the fall elections, but I think they'll be proven wrong.
There is no doubt that there is a huge political calculation being made right now by the Obama team not to send the president to Wisconsin. I think he needs to get there. He needs to fire up the troops even more. This is about the middle class. This is absolutely, really, there's no downside when President Obama shows up. How could there be a downside? This would be all upside. This is ground zero in the 30-year war against the middle class by the conservatives. It's the first true test and measurement against Citizens United. And it would be a big boost for this country's confidence when it comes to the vote. If Walker wins this, Republican governors will have more power than ever before to carry out their attacks on the middle class. I hear it on the radio all the time. They'd love to see President Obama there. He goes to Newton, Iowa. He's going to be in Minneapolis on Friday. His campaign office in Chicago. It's all around, but is it in? Yes, I know the resources are there, Obama for America and the DNC, but the main man they want to see is President Obama. They want him on that line because he talked about being on that line with them back in 2007. And now it's all on the line for people who had done it for him and delivered that state back when he needed it. This is about winning. Maybe I'm just too much of a jockstrap. Maybe I like the fight too much. I'm not the perfect political calculator here, but I do listen to the people. And the job of a leader is to motivate, motivate, motivate. It's like business. When you're a manager, what's your job? Your job is to get people to do things they might not want to do. There might be a few folks out there in Wisconsin that aren't sure, seeing all of this money being spent on TV. But if President Obama shows up, and if President Obama says, I need you to do this because this is just the tip of the iceberg, I'm there for the middle class, I'm there for you, I think it will have a huge impact. And if Walker wins, it's just a greater signal about how much we have to do in November. It's all positive. Mr. President, please go to Wisconsin. Let's turn to John Nichols, Washington correspondent for The Nation magazine and author of the book Uprising. Well, John, Newton, Iowa, Minneapolis, Chicago, not very far from Wisconsin. What would a President Obama visit do to this race, if anything?
As you say, Ed, it would all be to the positive. Governor Walker has poured money into mobilization on his side. He has also brought in a lot of Republican governors and conservative leaders, former presidential candidates. So he's fully mobilized his side. Democrats could use these visits from a Bill Clinton, from a Barack Obama. The energy is strong on the Democratic side, and obviously, as you can see from the polling, there's a lot of evidence that things are going well. But the bottom line is this. There are no undecided voters in Wisconsin. The question is which side of this fight successfully mobilizes its base. And there's no doubt that bringing President Obama in helps the Democrats to mobilize their base.
What would a visit by Bill Clinton do to this?
It's very, very helpful. Clinton was popular in Wisconsin. He won the state easily in 1992 and 1996. And he's especially popular in the Milwaukee area, Racine, Kenosha, the Eastern Shore communities, as well as along the Mississippi over in towns like La Crosse. If he were to do a couple stops in Wisconsin, I can tell you the crowds would be huge. And again, that energizing is important. I can tell you, Labor's put its troops on the ground. There is a real basic effort across this state. It can go. It's ready to go. But can you imagine, Ed? What if Tom Barrett lost by a few thousand votes, and you realized that if only they had sent in a little bit more of the heavy lifters, a little bit more of the big names? That's what I think a lot of people fear.
You know, you can't fear the loss. You got to go like hell, and you got to go to the firewall. You can't think about the negative. You got to do what you got to do to get it done, and that's what really, I think, the attitude is going to put the Democrats over the top. Now, what about the poll numbers? Break them down for us.
Yeah. Well, we've had two polls come out today, and they both suggest they stick with patterns that we've seen. The Marquette poll that came out and has Walker a bit ahead, that poll has tended toward a more conservative result, and so it's not overly surprising. Tom Barrett moved up 1 point from the last poll. Scott Walker moved up 2 points. The pollster, Charles Franklin, said today that he thinks it's very, very important to recognize this is a close race. He thinks his poll says this is a close race. Celinda Lake's poll, which came out around the same time, was actually done later than the Marquette poll. It was in the field a couple days later. Yeah. It shows a much closer race, and I think it's an important poll. And I actually give Charles Franklin from Marquette a point on this one, for he cited the Celinda Lake poll and noted that it was a slightly more recent poll.
John Nichols, great to have you with us. Thanks so much. Next up, Mitt Romney officially clinches the GOP nomination in the shadow of Donald Trump, and Trump isn't going away. Fox News is an arm of the Republican Party, no doubt about it. Even conservative writers agree after seeing what they did this morning. Fair and balanced? Big question mark.